for vast stretches of time. So this passage is about abstract intelligence, human intelligence, and its evolution. For vast stretches of time, the highest level of intelligence on Earth seems to have increased very slowly at best. Even now, our brain processes sensory motor information, uses all kinds of algorithms, shenanigans that allow us to do little actual thinking as possible. This suggests that the costs associated with intelligence are high. So he says the increase in our intelligence for a long period in human history has been slow, and then he says that the costs associated with intelligence are high. It turns out that brains are extraordinarily expensive metabolically on a per unit mass basis, far more than all other regions. So, the smarter an organism is, the more food it needs or it dies. Evolutionary speaking, it is stupid to be smart. So, when your brain mass is more, when you're more intelligent, he says you use up more energy, you need more energy. We do not have a good understanding of exactly how our neural hardware grants us abstract intelligence. How does the brain, the neural network, give us abstract intelligence? The how part of it, we don't know. We don't understand how the brain makes the mind. Given that more intelligence requires more brain mass, we know that more intelligence requires more brain mass, but which results in more metabolic costs. And when you have more brain mass, it involves more metabolic costs. But if this is true, but if given this situation, you will expect the result or the consequence would be, one would expect us to have the lowest possible level of abstract intelligence required for surviving in the precise ecological niche in which Homo sapiens developed. So, given that brain mass and abstract intelligence are connected, the more brain mass, the more abstract intelligence, it means that when we developed, we had the least amount of abstract intelligence, the barest minimum intelligence needed to scrape through a few million years of hunting and gathering until we got lucky and stumbled into the Neolithic Revolution. Is this conclusion correct? To gain insight into the question of whether we are smart or stupid, note that there are multiple types of intelligence. So he says, is my conclusion correct? That means it takes a lot of high metabolic cost for intelligence to grow. So given that brain mass and abstract intelligence are related, we started with the barest minimum. We used a barest minimum of abstract intelligence, and that's how we survived for centuries until the Neolithic Revolution. But he's asking, is my conclusion correct? Now he starts by talking about whether the conclusion is correct, not, and starts giving us reasons. One, he says that note that there are multiple types of intelligence, right? The ability to sense the external world is one such type of cognitive capability. The ability to remember past events is another. The ability to plan a future sequence of actions is another. And there are a myriad cognitive capacities that other organisms have, but we lack. So we have multiple types of intelligence, and there are multiple types of cognitive abilities that other organisms have that we as human beings don't have. This is true even if we consider only the intelligences that we have created. Think of the intelligences we have created, the intelligent instruments or devices that we have created. Modern digital computers vastly outperform us computationally in a myriad ways. Moreover, the small set of cognitive tasks that we still perform better than our digital computers is substantially shrinking. Each year, our computers are getting better and better than us. This will continue to change. The capabilities of future terrestrial organisms will likely exceed the current level of our digitally augmented intelligence. This sense of cognitive expansion is not unique to our current moment in history. So, future terrestrial organisms, people who live on Earth in the future, way beyond us, way after us, will be way more intelligent than we have. Okay. Uh, and this sense of and digitally augmented, right now we have our own intelligence which we have augmented through our digital devices, but in the future generations will be way more intelligent than we are, going by his theory and logic. This sense of cognitive expansion is not unique to our current moment in history. It's not just that now we think that we are less intelligent, our future generations are going to be more intelligent. It's not just the current history that this rule is followed. Think about the collective cognitive capacity of all organisms living on Earth. Imagine a graph showing this collective capability changing over billions of years. Arguably, no matter what precise time series analysis technique we use, and no matter how we formalize cognitive capability, whatever way you define cognitive capability, whichever time sequence you take, whichever time series analysis you do, we will conclude that the trend has a strictly positive slope. Whatever way you do your analysis, you see that cognitive capabilities has a strictly positive slope, it increasing. After all, in no period has the highest level of some specific cognitive capability held by an entity in the terrestrial biosphere shrunk. Our intelligence has not shrunk, it's only increased. The entire biosphere has not lost the ability to engage in certain kinds of cognitive capability. Also, there is not just growth over time in the degree of each cognitive capability, but a growth in the kinds. It's not just the degree of our intelligence that has grown, cognitive capability. It's also the kind, the variety, the kinds of intelligence has also expanded. Life has become only smarter and smarter in different ways. If we simply extrapolate this trend into the future, we are forced to conclude that some future organisms will have cognitive capability that no currently living terran species has, including us. That's the logical conclusion. Despite preening in front of our collective mirror, despite just, preening in front of a mirror, showing off in front of a mirror, it seems we have highly limited cognitive abilities compared with those that we likely to have in the future. Very nice passage. Let's look at the questions. Which one of the following sets of words is closest in mapping the main arguments of the passage? If you remember right, he first talked of brain mass and abstract intelligence and high metabolic costs of that. Second, he talked about are my conclusions correct? And he says, but for that, to explain that, we need to know that intelligence is not just one type. There are many types of intelligence. He talks about many types of intelligence. Then he says, and in addition to that, there are many types of cognitive capabilities that other organisms on Earth have, which we do not have. Third thing, he says that these cognitive capabilities have kept increasing. They have never shrunk. So there's always a positive no. Positive, the graph has always been positive. Our cognitive capabilities and the kinds of intelligence we have are only increasing. So it's possible that in the future, there would be somebody who is way more intelligent than what we are, and even with the augmented digital capabilities. This was the flow of the passage. Metabolic costs of the brain, multiple types of intelligence, more intelligent future organisms, seems to be going exactly according to the flow of the passage. Hey, let's look at the other options. Slow increase in intelligence. Yes, he talked about that. Multiple costs of brains. What metabolic costs of brains? No, he talked of metabolic costs of brains and that being responsible for the slow increase in intelligence for generations, and superiority of Homo sapiens. No, it doesn't cover half, and this order is reversed. B is wrong. Metabolic costs of the brain, slow increase in intelligence. Again, the order. Positive slope for increase in cognition. Yes, positive slope for increase in cognition. Slow intelligence would give half of it, but hasn't talked about multiple types of intelligence. He talked about that as an answer to it's not just the intelligence increases, also the types of intelligence. So that is missing here, right? And also I prefer slow increase in intelligence is due to the high metabolic cost rather than the other way around. Slow increase in intelligence, growths in types of cognitive ability, and then metabolic cost. No, metabolic and slow increase came together. So the correct best order is A, metabolic cost, multiple types, more intelligent future organisms. So my correct answer is A.